But before the climate conference in Paris, China has announced its plan to tackle climate change. Through the offer, China committed to peak its total carbon dioxide emission by 2030 or even earlier, to lower carbon dioxide emission per units of GDP by 60 to 65% from 2005 levels, to ramp up its non-fossil fuel consumption to around 20% of its total energy by 2030, and to increase its forest stock volume by around 4.5 billion cubic meters from 2005 levels. Back in 2009, China promised to achieve the goal by 2020, by which it would reduce the carbon intensity by 40 to 45% of 2005 level. China has cut a third of this so far. It has made great progress. In fact, it has set up a more ambitious goal of cutting 60 to 65% by 2030. But note here, that doesn't mean by 2030 the total carbon pollution in China will shrink by 2/3. We're talking about a reduction of carbon intensity per unit of GDP. China's GDP will still growing in the coming years. Total carbon pollution will decline more slowly than carbon intensity. This is the better way to protect development in a developing country. It needs a lot of money. To reach the goal of 20% of energy consumption coming from zero-emission sources, China needs to deploy an additional 1,000 gigawatts of new energy capacity, solar, wind, thermal. That equals the total electric generation capacity in the US last year. Or China would invest equivalents of 500 Hoover dams of new energy capacity in the coming 15 years. Not to mention the cost of shutting down the polluting companies, job losses, and tax revenue shrinking. Money, money, money. Pollution kills people. Some researchers says as many as 1.2 million people each year in China, some even higher.